What's going on, people? Phil Cornell here, and welcome to my channel and my first ever YouTube video. Today we are talking about the Nifty 50. It's a question that's been asked 1,000 times over. Anyone who's on the social talking about cameras has probably been asked what camera to buy, what lens to buy, and what should I buy next. And this is all relative to your skill as a photographer, your budget, and what you like shooting. Yet there is one particular lens that stands out, transcending all of these factors. It's the Nifty 50. So going back a few years, the Canon 50mm EF version was a lens that I was recommending everybody have in their camera bag, mainly because it's such a killer versatile lens. Then came the mirrorless cameras. I'm a Canon guy, so we're talking about the EOS R, the RP, the R6, the R5, the R3, and so on and so forth. When these got released, we were having to use this little guy, the EF adapter, to mount any of the older EF lenses, whilst we waited for Canon to release their range of RF Pro lenses, which we did, and they came with a pretty hefty price point, I'm not going to lie. But then Canon threw a sweet curveball and released another RF 50mm, but this time the 1.8 at a way cheaper price point, to the RF 50 1.2. So this is the RF Nifty 50. Say goodbye to that adapter. This can go straight onto the back of your R series camera, and here are my thoughts as to why I think everyone should own this lens, especially if you're looking for a lens to buy next, why this little guy would be a great choice. Firstly, straight off the bat, it takes great photos. It has a pretty fast 1.8 aperture, and with that 1.8 you get a lovely, nice, blurry, separated background with beautiful bokeh. When you get that separation, it really makes the photos look professional and pleasing to the eye. They just look absolutely stellar. If you don't know what I'm going on about, here's a shot with that 50mm lens, and just look how crisp that foreground is. The subject stands out, the detail is on point, and the background is nice and compressed, giving you a clear focus on what the photographer is wanting you to focus on. Is a more extreme version of a big old leaf I found in the woods. I mean, come on, look at that amazing depth of field. That thin slice of focus looks incredible, and you're getting that because of that wide open aperture the 1.8 offers. Another benefit of a wide open aperture is that it's better in low light situations. Allowing more light into the lens means you can shoot at a faster shutter speed, which means if you're shooting indoors or you're in night or any situation where the light is poor, you're going to get better results with the more light the lens can let in. When you're in super dark settings, so for me, I'm a wedding photographer, I'm thinking of a dark church where tiny windows where there's almost next to zero light coming in. Those 3 stops of low light in this lens are going to give you results like this, where you can really pull the detail out of that shot that was relatively completely dark. It's worth to note that this little guy doesn't have image stabilization, but if you're putting on an R series camera, then you have in-body camera stabilization with that, so no worries there. A cool feature to the Nifty 50 is that being an RF lens, you get the option of using the control ring on the front of the lens. You might be thinking, well, where is the focus ring? Well, this feature allows you to switch either the control ring by this little switch over and use the ring for focusing. So it can be used as a manual focus ring, or you can flick the switch and use as a control ring. So yeah, you guessed it, you can use that control ring for ISO, shutter speed, or whatever. Me personally, I'm pretty old school and I like to set the control ring to aperture, as that's how the old film lenses used to work, with the aperture ring on the lens itself. And I don't know, it just reminds me of shooting film cameras when I first got into photography. So having to fit that all on such a diddy lens, it's pretty cool. Another cool feature is that you no longer have the plastic mount on the back. This is now a metal mount, which is a great upgrade. Minimum focus distance has improved slightly from the EF old version. I think it was just over a foot minimum focus distance, and the RF 50 is just under a foot. I should probably check that. Yeah, so this version is 0.3 meters and the old version was 0.35. So nothing to write home about, but definitely an improvement. So my honest opinion on this lens is that it's a good lens. actually it's a great lens, regardless of your skill level as a photographer. Whether you're using it as a primary lens, a backup lens, or a lightweight option for a gimbal use because of its great ease of balance. For me, as a professional wedding photographer, more often than not, I use this lens for evening dance shots, just to give my wrist a break from that beast of the 50 1.2 RF. This little lens is way easier to balance, and I know I'm going to get great photos every time. So just to give you a quick example of what I mean by that. So here's my camera. Here is the 50 1.2. You can already see the size difference, and trust me, the weight is insanely heavy. Pop that on there, and see, I was talking about how I use the Nifty 50 for dance floor photos. So if I'm using my normal 50, I'll whack the flash on there. Put that there. We're going to be doing something like that. You can see already how that is super heavy, and when I'm doing this, trying to get those dance floor photos, it's already, you know, super off balance with the weight of the flash and also the weight of this lens as well. You can add a battery extension onto this to kind of balance it out a bit more, but even with the battery extension, I have tried, and it's just so much pressure on my wrist doing that. So what I found is, you know, I can get the same, if not better results just from using this Nifty 50. You can see already, and straight away, that is so much better on my wrists. You know, the weight is just, it's just gone. That's a super light setup now, just by putting this lens on, and I know I'm going to get great photos from it. So yeah, that's what I meant by that. Also, the affordability of this lens is great, priced at around £200 for the UK and around $200 in America. Further underscores its value, especially given the quality of the photos it can produce. And for a bit of peace of mind, if you do break it or you lose it or scuff it up and it gets to the point where you need to replace it, it's not going to break the bank to do so. So that's a great benefit. So to sum up, it's a very affordable lens, especially for the results you're getting when you're able to take photos that look like this. Most people that look at these photos probably wouldn't think they're done on a cheap lens, let alone a £200 lens. Obviously, the camera is going to play a big part in that as well, but arguably the lens and the glass are an even bigger part. So whether you're a complete beginner, new to the world of photography, and you're looking for your first lens, or if you're looking for something to challenge yourself, maybe you're new to the world of prime lenses but you want to get involved, or you just want to get creative and try something new out, then this is what I recommend you go out and get. If you're a professional that doesn't have one of these and never had one, I think there's a lot of fun to be had with this guy, and it's definitely worth having in your camera bag. That said, if you're someone who is already using the Nifty 50 EF version and you're happy with it, do you need the RF version for your cameras? I would say probably not. If you're happy throwing it on the adapter, you already know the magic of the 50. But if you did want to lose the EF adapter, then I would pick this up. It will save you some space on the camera, it has better minimum focus, and you have that control ring if that's something you've grown used to. Otherwise, the Nifty 50 has always been and will always be the Nifty 50. I'll add links below for you to check out yourselves, along with a few of the things that I use as a wedding photographer. If you like this, my first ever YouTube video, please give me a like and subscribe, and it did just keep me honest and encourage me to do more videos. Let me know what your thoughts of this lens are in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.